So for dinner tonight, we're going to be making some Mexican street tacos with some esquite salad. I've made the esquite salad before, but I'm going to actually grill the corn this time, so it's going to be a little different, but equally delicious. I'm going to let these peppers and the corn marinate in a little bit of salt and some olive oil. I'm going to chop up these limes because we're actually going to be grilling these. So while the corn and peppers are marinating in just a little bit of salt and olive oil, I'm going to get the barbecue started, give that a nice little scrub, and then we are going to throw the corn on. The corn doesn't take very long. I'm going to add the kids' corn and the parents' corn to this, and then later I'll add on the limes and the peppers because I don't want to overcook those, and I actually want to sit out here to make sure that they are perfect. So while the corn's cooking, this will be about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to start to prep our asada. I actually get our asada at a local Mexican market here, and then I will add some seasonings. The seasonings I like to use are chili powder, garlic powder, onions, smoked paprika, some fine salt, and then I also do a little chili powder and cumin as well. I'll let that sit for about 20 minutes before we throw that on the barbecue, but doesn't that look so yummy? I put my limes on for about 3 minutes and look how juicy and charred those look. I cannot wait to see how that dish turns out. So I'm going to pull those off the barbecue. My corn looks just about ready, so I'm going to pull that off as well, and then we are going to get our steak on there. It usually takes about 7 minutes per side. Now the fun part. I'm going to be doing 2 different dipping sauces for this recipe. The first one is going to be basically like a guacamole. I'm adding some sour cream, some cilantro, 1 giant avocado. You could probably add 2 if you find that your store only has the smaller ones. All you have to do is scoop these right out and throw them right into your food processor. And then we are going to be adding our seasonings, and I like to season mine with some fresh lime zest. I will take 1 lime and do all the green zest that I can off of it, sometimes 2, and you can either add in fresh lime juice or you can char your limes like I did and add those in as well. All you have to do is just squeeze that in. I found that it was so much juicier when I barbecued it than when I typically just use fresh lime. Now I'm going to be adding in some garlic salt, and pepper, and we're going to grind that up until it is nice and thick. Once it's done, I'm going to put it into a dish and we're going to add that to the refrigerator. The second dipping sauce we're doing is my personal favorite. We're going to be using this 2 ways, but add a can of Chipotle and Adobo sauce with 1/4 cup of water and a little bit of olive oil and mix that up until the chipotles are almost liquefied. Go ahead and add that to a shallow bowl, and we're also going to be using that as a dipping sauce later. So while that's sitting, we're going to start our esquite salad. I always like to make this ahead of time because it needs about 20 minutes for all the flavors to really incorporate well. For this recipe, all you're going to need is the corn that we barbecued. I'm going to be adding some more of the lime rind. I love this. I just feel like it's such a bright flavor and it really does make this dish stand out. I'm going to be adding the juice of 1 entire lime to this, and then I'm going to mix that well with a little bit of salt and pepper. Next, we're going to be chopping up some green onions. I also like to add in some fresh cilantro to this dish as well. Since I've already kind of prepped most of this stuff, I've got it in bowls set aside. I'm also going to add Cotija, which is a wonderful cheese that really brings a buttery flavor to this recipe. Add 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise. I always like to use vegan mayonnaise. It holds very well, especially if our friends are going to be taking this outside or eating outside. I just think it's a safe bet, and I like the flavor. To kick this dish up tonight, I am going to be adding in some fresh jalapeños. I always recommend to remove the seeds, that way this dish isn't too spicy, but of course, if you want it to be extra spicy, go ahead and add the seeds. Now that our asada is fully marinated, we are going to just throw this on the barbecue for about 7 minutes on each side. I highly recommend sticking around and making sure that you watch it because the different cuts of these sometimes are a little bit different. So I'm going to barbecue these up and then we'll bring them inside, chop them up, and we'll start to make our tacos. Now that I have everything chopped up and laid out, it's time to start the fun. To do this, I am just going to be using a little bit of olive oil in a very hot cast iron skillet. I'm going to just sear both sides of these are corn tortillas, but you can use flour. The other Chipotle ones we're going to do, I'm going to be using flour. So just get those until they're nice and brown, and then we're going to transfer them to a little dish. I'm going to be adding on the asada. I'm also going to be putting on some yellow onions and some cilantro. I also have a little bit of the cotija still, so I thought I would add that on top as well. And then I'm going to tuck in a pepper because my husband loves things very spicy, and I'm making this first one for him. To make the Chipotle tacos, I am going to actually be dipping the flour tortilla in the dipping sauce that I made for the Chipotle taco, but this is so yummy. All you have to do is fully coat these. Don't leave them in too long because if they get too soggy, it takes a really long time to fry them. So I just like to lightly coat each side, throw it into the pan, and let it cook for about 3 minutes on each side or until it's nice and crunchy brown. The thing I love about this recipe is when you cook down the Chipotle, it kind of takes the spice away and it's so good. I'm going to top that with asada, yellow onion, cilantro, and some cotija, and we're going to set that one aside. I also made one with a little bit of cheese, which is equally delicious. I added just a little bit of mozzarella cheese to the top of these and then added on all the other toppings. It's super delicious. You could do it either way. They both taste great. Now I'm going to take you to the other side of the kitchen. I'm going to show you how I actually serve these. For the corn tortillas, I'm just going to add a little bit of that guacamole on the side. For my husband's, I put it in a little dish. He can dip right into it. And then for the Chipotle tacos, I did put a little dish on the side that you could dip into as well, but this is how it all turned out, and these were incredible, so easy to make and so delicious. Served next to that Elotes salad, you've got yourself the perfect dinner for summer. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one real soon. Bye!